In this video, I'm going to show you how to install M-style fenders on an F33. Let's go. What's up everyone, I'm Steve and you're watching F33. Now if you like this video, give a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you don't miss when a new video drops. Now when I hit a deer a while back, my fender got dented and it left me with a couple of choices on how I was going to fix it. I could either pull the dents or replace the fenders. Now since the insurance company was paying, I chose to replace with M-style fenders. I've always liked the M-style fender, so when the opportunity came, I jumped on it. Now, I'm not doing an entire M conversion on the F33. I'm only doing the fenders. I'm not looking to try to fool people into thinking that I've got an M car. I like the larger vent on the side. Now, I picked these fenders up from Kies Motorsports and I couldn't be happier with them. So if by the end of the video you decide that you like the way this turned out, check the description box below where I have put links to not only the fenders, but to also the tools needed for this install. One other thing to note is that these install steps will be the same for the F32 and F36 and very similar, if not the same, for the F30. All right, so let's head out to the car and get these fenders installed. The tools needed for this install are an 8 and 10 millimeter socket extensions, 10 millimeter ratcheting wrench, 10 millimeter open-ended slim wrench, trim tool set, and a pick tool set. The difficulty for this install is medium. So the first thing you're going to want to do is pop the hood, and then you'll find these 3 plastic rivets, and you'll just want to take a trim tool to remove them. And basically what's going to happen is the top middle is going to come out, and then you'll be able to pull the rivet out. Just pops right out. All right, and then once you have those 3 rivets out, you can remove this plastic trim piece. And this is going to expose 2 of the bolts. So you have one right up here, you have another one here, and then there's another one right in the front. So we're not going to remove those bolts right now, but this step is to expose those bolts. All right, so the next step is going to be to remove these 4 8 millimeters that hold the fender liner in place. The reason we need to take that off is because there are 2 8 millimeter screws that hold the bumper to the fender. So let's go ahead and remove those. All right, so that's going to let us peel this back. And then, like I said, right up here are those 2 8 millimeter screws that we'll need to remove. All right, and these are what those screws look like. Next, you want to take a pick tool and remove these 4 push rivets. So basically the way these are going to work is you're going to take your pick tool and push in the center of the rivet, and it's going to pop inside the fender. These are one-time use unless you can find the centers inside the fender. So I would encourage you to go ahead and either pick up some new ones or spend some time picking them out of the fender. All right, and once you've got the holes punched out in the center, you'll just take a trim tool and pull those rivets out. All right, so next you're going to want to remove 2 more 8 millimeters, one right here and one right up here. What those do is those secure this plastic piece here that's attached to the fender liner. All right, so now you should be able to pull this fender liner out and around that black fender piece. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. All right, so this next one is going to be really hard to show, but I'm gonna do my best to show you this bolt. All right, and here is the bolt that's going to come out. Now this next one is going to be a complete and utter pain. So it sits basically inside a clip here, and there's a little wire that's probably held on by a Christmas tree or a clip there. But the only way that you're going to be able to get to it is with these two tools. So either a open-ended wrench or a ratcheting wrench. Ratcheting wrench is going to be so much easier. What I did notice about this is if you look at it, it's got kind of a flat profile. So I can use this when it's down out of the bracket a little bit, but then I need to use this one that's kind of angled. So if your ratcheting wrench is angled, then you're even ahead of the game. But this ratcheting wrench is awesome because basically you have a very little room to work in. You can really only go back and forth, maybe half an inch, if that, to get that bolt out. Now, some people have gone ahead and broken this plastic piece that sits underneath that bolt in order to get a socket in there. I'm not about breaking stuff. You can do that if you want. I'm not going to do that on here. The other thing is that some people have removed their side skirts in order to get that bolt off. Again, not something I really want to do. We do have to pull the side skirt a little bit just to give us some room and to unclip it from the fender. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And basically how you do it is you just push against the fender and pull out on the side skirt, and it's just going to pop out. And that's all you need is just to unclip from this black bracket that's right there. So that's all you're doing. But it's a little bit of a pain to get in there to get that bolt out. But again, without taking out your side skirt, without breaking that clip, really you're going to want to use one of these open-ended wrenches. When I did the other side, it took me probably a good half an hour to get that bolt out just because it was just such an awkward position, hard to get the wrench on, but eventually it came out. Getting it in was also fun. I was able to thread it in using my fingers, but and then get the rest with the wrench. But again, complete pain. Do it how you want, but I'm choosing not to remove the side skirts and not to break that clip. All right, so this next one's not too bad. It's actually located in the hinge or by the hinge of the door. So just open up the door and you'll see this foam piece. The bolt is actually behind the foam piece. All right, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to just pull back this foam. And I'm just going to use a trim tool just to make it a little bit easier. Just so I don't rip it. So the foam just pulls down there. And then I like to use a bit with some tape around it just so I don't nick any of the paint. All right, and there you go. All right, so and there's another bolt, and it's connecting the fender to the headlight. Let's see if I can get a good image of this for you. All right, so right here where I have my finger is where the fender connects to the headlight. All right, so now we can remove these last three 10 millimeters. Now, once you remove them, the fender should not just fall off or anything like that, but I like to start with the ends and then do the middle. All right, so as you can see, the fender stayed on, so no need to worry about it flying off, but it is free. It's ready to come off. So why don't we take the fender off? We're going to put it over on the bumper stands, and then we have a few clips to transfer over before we put on the new fender. All right, and so if any of you wondered where your washer fluid is, there you go. It sits right there. That is the secret spot. I did notice that there is some foam insulation here that runs along, so just be mindful of that, that doesn't, maybe come off or anything like that. All right, so let's go ahead and start at the bottom with this plastic piece. Now, this is the one that was blocking our way from getting that bolt. I'm just going to use a trim tool, and basically there's clips here, here, and here, and they alternate which way they go. So this is on the bottom. You just kind of push the tab in. You can pull out. This one's on the top. We're just going to push down. This one on the bottom. Push it up, and this whole thing comes out. All right, so let's go ahead and put this piece in on the new one. These bump outs here go down, they face out, and so this is just going to clip right in the same way it came out. There we go. All right, so right next to where we just took that black piece out, there's a clip. We're just going to transfer that clip over. This is what that screw fits into. All right, and then there are two more clips right here by the fender vent. So we'll just take those off. All right, so now you'll notice that the new fender doesn't have that black piece for the fender vent. And that is because, well, it's a different configuration for this vent. This vent is no longer going to be functional, and Kies Motorsports sends this in its place. So this has where those four push rivets go, and they're going to pop on just like this. And these rivets are going to go on just like this. And so if I take this over so that you can get a better look at it, you'll see they clip on in relatively the exact same spot. It's just this is now blank, it's filled, instead of being a hole for a vent opening. Now, I think it'd be awesome if there was some sort of ductwork after, this goes in that could flow air from this area up into this vent. I think that this is close enough to this vent that should be possible, and maybe in another iteration they'll do that, but for right now, this closes off that vent. I'm not going to worry about putting this on yet. We're going to put that on once we get the fender on. It's a little bit easier. All right, and you'll find another clip right up on top here. This is the top edge of the fender where it meets the window. It's just going to come off. All right, and we just have a couple more clips. So we have this one here that we need to take off. And then we also have this black clip. Now, this is held in with one of those push pin rivets. So you're just going to take a pick tool, pop out that little screw or the little center, pop the rivet out, and then this piece is going to just pop right out. All right, so go ahead and put this in here, and then we'll pop this in place. All right, so now before we put the fender on, there's one piece that I want to put on first, and that's the vent that goes right in here. The reason is there's some clips on the vent, and I want to make sure that those clips clip in correctly. And it's just easier to do with the fender off. I'm not going to put on the entire vent piece, just the insert that goes inside. Now, before I put it on, I wanted to show what I did. So Kies Motorsports gives you a black one. And what I did is I actually had this piece hydro dipped in carbon fiber. And they did an amazing job. I'll put a link to the shop. It was in Raleigh that I had do it, but it looks absolutely awesome. They have carbon fiber pieces that you can get, but it's actually not this vent piece. It's the extension that says, you know, M4, M Performance or whatever, you know, label goes on there, but it's not the actual vent piece. And so just for those two pieces, if you were to get real carbon fiber, it's like over $200. And I thought that that was just kind of silly when it didn't even include the actual vent. So I had it hydro dipped, and I have to say it looks absolutely amazing. Now to get this piece inserted, we're going to go in through the front at an angle, and then we're going to just kind of push it in place, guide those clips, and then you'll hear it clip in place. And I just like to push it a little bit extra just to make sure that these clips engage. And there you go. I can't wait to show you the finished product. Like I said, I did the driver's side and it looks incredible. So I can't wait for you to see how it looks. All right, so now as you're putting this in, you're just gonna wanna make sure you're in between the side skirt. There we go. Oh, that looks absolutely awesome. All right, so we're basically gonna do everything in reverse order. We're gonna pop on those 3 10mm, and we're gonna do everything kind of lightly fitted because we need to make sure that the hood seals right, we get all the gapping and everything. The driver's side, I didn't have to do too much fiddling with. It really sat kind of perfect. So I'm hoping that this side's gonna be the same way. All right, so let's do a quick test fit just to see if we're in the range. All right, so it looks like I need to push in a little bit here, but otherwise the gap looks really, really good. So just gonna push in the front and in the middle. All right, let's see how that looks. All right, so now we're just gonna go ahead and retighten everything that we loosened to get the fender off. Again, we have the 10 millimeter that connects the fender to the headlight. We have the 10 millimeter that sits in the crack of the door. We have the 10 millimeter that's right about here that you use the extension to get. And then we have that hard to get to 10 millimeter down there that we use with the crescent wrench. So do the 8 millimeters up here and all of the fender well stuff last. That way, when you're fiddling with fitment and things like that, you're not having to constantly undo those screws or anything like that. So those are the last ones to do. Get all those 10 millimeters in, get the fitment right, then we can button it up. All right, so now that we have the fitment where we want it, we can take that blank that used to go to the fender vent. We're gonna pop it on in here. Now I'm not going to push the rivets in yet. What I wanna do is I want to get this carpet behind the vent. So all right, so hopefully that showed well on camera. So now we're going to want to secure those two 8 millimeters that are going to connect the fender vent plate to the wheel liner. All right, so now that we have the carpet screwed in, I would wait and actually do these 4 rivets last just because they're one-time use. And it's extremely hard to find them once they've fallen into the side skirt. And I don't want you to waste money, waste clips or whatever. So do those absolutely last. Once you're, 100% sure everything is exactly the way you want it, then put those rivets in. All right, so the last part in the fender well, now that we have everything else buttoned up, is to put in these one-time use rivets. So basically put it in without the center piece. Let's start up here. There we go. All right, so let's put this plastic trim piece back in place. Like that. And then we're just going to put these plastic push pin rivets in. All right, so now comes the easy part and one of the most gratifying parts, if I'm going to be honest, and that is putting the rest of this awesome fender vent on. Now, when you get this, there's actually a back piece that clips on. take this off, all right, so that you have two pieces. Now what you're going to want to do is line this up into the slots that you can see it fits into and clip this in place. Make sure it's all the way clipped in. All right. So now what you're going to want to do is take this trim piece and you're going to push it in and line up the clips. And there you go. Now it's in. Now, obviously, this is not an M4. This is a 435. So I'm not going to put an M4 badge. I'm not trying to pretend that this is an M4 in any way. So what I did was I got these from Brazil. They were custom made, and they are M Performance stickers. So this is an M Performance 435. It's got the M Performance pack. So I'm not, posing or doing anything trying to make this out to be something that it's not by putting this particular sticker on. So all you need to do is kind of line it up. And press it in place. That looks absolutely amazing. Let me zoom in here so that you can see it better. I am just so happy how this turned out. From the hydro dip to the fenders to the sticker. This is just absolutely awesome. I couldn't be happier. Again, they do make real carbon fiber fender vents, but the only thing that's carbon fiber is this piece. This in here is gloss black, and I just, like I said, I didn't feel that spending $200 on just two of these pieces was worth it. It's not to me. Now maybe if somebody came out with this as well, so as a combined package, that's all 200. I'd feel a little bit more comfortable spending that, but not just for this piece. That seems a little ridiculous. These stickers, I think, were $50 if I remember right. I got them off eBay. I'm going to put a link down below to where you can find them, as I will with everything. And as far as the fitment for these fenders, it's amazing. I mean, it fits OEM. I had to do very, very little in order to get this to fit correctly. There was very little maneuvering of the fender at all. It just lined up absolutely perfectly. And the shop that I had color match and paint this fender was Auto Arts in Raleigh, and they did a phenomenal job. I mean, they did the front bumper and the fenders, and you cannot tell the difference. All of it looks OEM, to the orange peel, to the way the flakes hit. Everything looks OEM. I could not have asked for anything better. This looks absolutely amazing. So I'm going to put some cinematics in so that you can get kind of the full effect of how this all looks on the car. But this is a very worthwhile investment, and I'm so happy that I did this. Now, as you saw, installing the M-style fenders from Kies Motorsports on an F33 isn't too bad as long as you use the right tools and follow some of the tips and tricks that I showed you in the video. Realistically, you are looking at a few hours for each side for the install, so make sure that you've set aside enough time. It's not necessarily a hard install, but it does take some time to complete. Now, as always, I have put links in the description to all the products and tools needed for this install. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that like button, smash it if that's what you're into, subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you on the next one. God bless.